Hi, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of AI Dev Tools. Today, I'm your host, Simon, and we are back once again. In this episode, we are going to learn about preventing AI model drift, continuous retraining strategies for production. And for this episode, we have Amit Arora, who is a software engineering manager. Hi, Amit, and welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for watching and joining this one. As Simon said, I'm Amit Rora, software engineering manager. So I'll be talking about the topic that's increasingly important as the AI system move from the research labs to real-world deployment. How to prevent model drift in image classifications using continuous retraining strategies. The presentation is based on my recently published article in the Journal of Computer Science and Technology Studies. I'll try to share real world evidence, practical architectures, and recommendations to keep model performant and trustworthy in production environment. We're going to talk about how do we prevent model drift in image classification using continuous retraining strategies. I'll move to the actual content. Uh, First, talking about recap of how far we have come as far as the accuracy of image classification is concerned. I think in 2011, the top tier accuracy on standard benchmark was around 50%. And then AlexNet brought it to 63% in 2012. And by 2023, architecture like EfficientNet V2 pushed it over 90%. Despite these advances, production model deployed in real environment often see performance decay due to evolving inputs and context. And that's where the drift becomes critical. Moving on to the next slide, I think without like if you don't do the proactive maintenance, model accuracy erodes by 1.5 to 3% every month and can collapse by 15% within a quarter. Enterprises are now allocating around 30%, 35% of their ML budgets just to model maintenance. So the takeaway here is very clear. So deploying a high accuracy model isn't the finish. Basically, it's the starting point. That's where you start when you once you have deployed your high accuracy models. Um, so this is very interesting chart. It shows how the static models degrade over time. Like you can see the false positive increase by over 7% per month, and false negatives are up by like almost similar, like 6.8 percentage every month. So, I mean, and these just are in the numbers that models are degrading, right? So these represents your lost revenue because of the model getting degraded. It's a manual overhead. You have to actually, the things which are not able to catch by the model, you have the manual overhead there. And of course, the poor user experience depending on where the model is deployed. So longer we delay the retraining, the problem will keep compounding. You can imagine the first month with the problem you're having, in a couple of months, the problem is just keep compounding and problem is becoming intense and intense. So talking about the real world consequences, like, I mean, we talked about like theoretical, the percentage numbers and all this stuff, but what are the real world consequences? I'm bringing a few examples in different industries, which can help you relate the real world consequences of the model drift, right? So if you just pick up manufacturing industry, image classification can lose up to 27% accuracy within 6 months. Like if you translate that to, that'll translate to roughly $3.2 million annual waste and potential, like you can have a bunch of different product recalls. In healthcare, which is a critical industry, even if the model starts with 94% sensitivity, right? So that's pretty high sensitivity. It can drop to 78%. And like effectively missing critical diagnosis, right? So which is not something acceptable. Financially, like you can think of like just thinking of the financial impact of it, like every 1% degradation leads to the cascade, right? So 1% degradation can have more, like it results in more false positives, lost sales, and you can imagine the rising the operational cost, right? So just 1%, and imagine like you're losing 25%, you're losing a bunch of 30% accuracy in these models. Like 1% can have such a huge financial impact. So now, since we have talked about what's a financial implication, what's a, like we have talked about some of the theoretical numbers on the model drifts that happens, like talks about what are the benefits of if you if you have continuous retraining of your models. What will be the benefit of it? I think one is the lifespan. You can actually increase the model lifespan by 42%. And then the other one is compute savings. You can actually have 60%, 62% saving if you basically do regular retraining versus if you do the full retraining of the model. The third one is data efficiency. Like you will have, uh, we just need like 53% of the training volume versus like the full retraining sample if you have to do it. The other one, which is I think the benefit of it is like 43% fewer false positives. Like, I mean, that is a huge percentage in false positive, right? It directly improves the trust in the AI system. So, I mean, effectively, solution is not just technical. So it's economical and strategic for basically the retraining requires have that strategic need that we should be focused on. Um, Now we have talked about basically the benefits. Now, what is my like? What is the high level blueprint I'm recommending? So, high level blueprint is I think first is continuously monitor model performance. Like that's the first thing. Like if we don't measure it, we won't know it, right? So first step is like, are you measuring the performance of the model? So a lot of time happens, like the model is deployed, we started with 95% accuracy, but after that we have no idea what's the accuracy of the model is. Then use smart sampling, right, to collect new and informative data for continuous retraining. And I think the third step is use incremental training techniques to update the model. And very important that we have to preserve the knowledge, the existing knowledge of that model. And I think the final step is through validation, like before deployment. So that's very important that once you retrain the model, make sure that the model is still behaving the way it should be behaving. Uh, so so this keeps the model current without actually fully retraining the model. So this is the high level 4 steps you need to follow. Now I'm talking about like like some of the more details in each of those steps. One is like, how do I know when to retrain the model? So like we can, I think we can rely on the fixed calendar, like every time, like every month we try to retrain. But I think my proposal is focus more on, like that's why we are monitoring the model performance. So focus more on monitoring some of the signals from your model. Like you can actually see if the model have certain drops in confidence scores. You're noticing the shifts in prediction distributions. You are noticing drift. Like you can actually use the couple of techniques like KL divergence or Weierstrass distance to see if there's a drift detected in your model. The other one is canary test failures. You can actually look into those ones, right? So these adaptive triggers ensures that retraining happens before performance collapse, not after, right? And then it's also why it's like it gives you a real signal when to retrain your model versus you are guessing. It takes the guessworks out of the when to retrain your model. Now going to the next portion, like the other one is we talked about like we need data for retraining. Like what are the efficient data sampling techniques we can use to retrain our models? So I think the main thing we talked about, we want to minimize the amount of data we need, right? So we can actually focus on these 4 techniques. One is uncertainty sampling. So we target the input that model struggles with, right? The other one is diversity sampling. So instead of having a lot of repetitions, we avoid repetitions and we try to cover the entire feature space. The other one is adversarial sampling. So add the edge cases to strengthen the robustness of the models. And I think last but not least is active learning. Basically, selectively involves human annotators. So all these techniques can help us reduce the labeling cost and retraining cycle significantly, right? So, that's a goal of the retraining, and that's one of the advantage of the retraining on a regular basis. So one major risk. So we talked about different facets of retraining, how to focus on those one triggers, and basically efficient sampling. One major risk with continual learning is catastrophic forgetting. So, so where what I mean by that is where the model forgets what it used to know. To prevent this, I think I'm suggesting a couple of things to make sure that we prevent this one. This one is very important, that models learn new things versus forgetting the which is already new. So one is elastic weight consolidations. This will help to preserve important weights. The other one is knowledge distillations. So we want to make sure that we transfer the wisdom from old to new models. And the third one is replay buffers for historical data, right? So we actually use replay buffers for historical data and gradient regularization to avoid harmful updates. So the whole goal of this exercise is helping the model learn something new without forgetting which is already mastered, which is very critical, right? So we want to basically just focus on the retraining of new things and making sure that previous knowledge is preserved. Okay, so a couple of key takeaways. I think to sum it up, here are four key takeaways, right? First is use drift detection methods using KL divergence and variance metrics and other methods to see if there is model is drifting, right? So it goes back to measuring, right? So measuring is a major focus. Be proactive in figuring out if any drift is happening for your model or not. And then within your uh, ML lifecycle, build adaptive retraining workflows with sampling and incremental updates, right? So you want to make sure that you're sampling, you build the efficient sampling techniques so that the sampling volume is low, and you do incremental updates. So you build and you're able to quickly update your model. And then the third one is you validate to make sure that the new model is learning new things with the old knowledge preserved, right? So you want to make sure, you want to be super critical that you're not losing the old knowledge of your models and you're learning the new things in the model. So validation is super important, and it has these dual purposes, right? So one is you can validate your model, learn new things. The other one is you didn't lose your old knowledge of the model. I think the fourth thing, which is very important, is which helps you give the sense of how critical regular retraining of the model is, that you track the total cost of the ownership. You have to once you employ retraining, you will see that how much your return. You want to calculate your return in how much fewer errors you are seeing, right, or false positive you're seeing with the regular retraining. How What is the lifespan of the model? Is it increasing or not? How much compute is actually how efficient the compute is becoming? Is it going down? Is it increasing? Right. So you will see the cost coming down, your compute cost coming down as you retrain on a regular basis. So I think tracking that is very important, and especially with the existing system you have or existing ML life cycles you have, right? So start tracking it right away before you employ the retraining strategies. Um, the last, thank you for time today. I hope this session offered you practical insights into building resilient and sustainable AI system for the real use cases. This project was really close to me, and I'm excited to see more organizations and individuals and institutes embrace this continuous learning as part of their production AI strategy. Thank you.